Well, my name is Mardiningsih du Carrois, and I live in Frankfurt, and I'm part of Sabut, Germany. And well, as I have said already in the Zoom teaser, I like painting, and I've been painting for quite a while in stages. The first thing I painted was my mother's bed sheets when I was 2 o'clock. No, I mean, not 2 o'clock, 2 years old. And she didn't say anything about me. She said it's wonderful, or she didn't reprimand me or anything. And so that went on. And when I graduated high school, I said to my mother I would like to study art, but she said, "Oh, take something more practical." So I took business school, and but now I'm retired, and now I can do what I want. The thing is, the opportunity to do my first exhibit was unfortunately in the time of the lockdown, when in June of 2020, and everybody was scared, but I wasn't. But it was a time when things was slowing down. The first wave of the COVID passed, and so it was still all right. And I didn't fear anything. I said, "Oh well, I have to do that because why not? Um, if we stay safe." And so I did my first exhibit in June 2020. Well, it was not the main thing for me was just to just to be there. And people say it is absurd, but I didn't feel it. I feel life has to go on, and people would like to see something instead of empty shop windows. So I did that, and maybe Andrew can show some pictures already so that I don't have to talk too much. Well, these I have done at the time of family and children, when I wasn't too occupied, and we just came back from Bali, and then of course I took photos of the women there while they were working, because I can't sketch them right away at the place. It would be too obvious. And it was so I did some sketches of these Balinese at a procession, and while they were working, and adapted also the you know my father. I didn't attend any formal art school, but my father knew I liked to draw, so he always gave me some books about how to you know how to draw anatomy and etc. And I learned from there. And okay, these are works in aquarelle and crayon and pencil drawings, about 40 centimeters times 30 centimeters. And they were part of an action, a charitable project I made in when I was a Hausfrau, you know, tending children and having lots of time, and we heard of a of a professor in in university clinic in want of a breathing apparatus for a child, and we I mean, I had the idea that instead of just giving an amount of money, I could draw some pictures and paint some pictures and sell it. And so it was lovely. It was double the amount that I could have given in cash, you know. And then came a bit of depression, you know, with all the nice children, everything is fine. But then I remembered, hey, I've got about 100 paintings or aquarels around, so that encouraged me to do more. And I also did other paintings, and my mother registered me for exhibits in Jakarta. So, and of course, these are the only things that are left because most are sold already. The next one, please. And this is an aquarelle of my late husband. He died in 2010, and we used to sit around the table, and he with his pipe, and he was speaking, and sometimes I just don't lose attention. I just do these drawings, and that is it. This is and this other one, I must admit, I copied it. There was a nice picture of this Balinese women who are, you know, in the 1940s, in the 40s, while Europe was was at war, many went to Bali because it was still peaceful there, and they many sat down, and many artists also. They set foot there, and they spent the wartime over there, and this was a photo which one artist took, and I copied it. It is in oil. It's in oil. Thank you. The next one, please, Andrew. And this is also one of the pictures, you know, the childhood, and days were nice, and all summers were long. And this is my daughter Sandra, and I just had a course in painting, in outdoor painting or the plein air, and I tried to do that, but it was so you know, it was the time that the sun sets and cast other shadows is too soon, so I just had to to draw quickly the outlines of my daughter, and do the rest on imagination. It was my first courses in plein air painting. Thank you. And this was also, I tried to do plein air, but I could only do the backgrounds. And then I was too lazy to do the other shrubs at the back, at the background. So I just made a line, and this was also those summer days when the children were still nice, and my mother sold this because it went. My mother arranged exhibits for me in Jakarta, and she said, "Oh." And I was when I'm on holiday there, I bring a few paintings, and my mother. It is exhibited there, and of course she keeps the cash. But that's okay. Thank you. Yes, and this is also Oliver, my son, and he's getting married this 18 on the 18th, and that's his favorite position when he's watching television. That's how I get him to be quiet. And this is all that's his oil on board. Um, these are, of course, my exercises in doing portraits with a master's technique, because I had to cook beeswax, 4 liters of beeswax, and what is it? Leinsamenöl, linseed oil, and had to cook it in a big pan. And that is the medium is very translucent, and that's why if you see the old masters like Rembrandt, they use it so you see the translucent faces, that it's not pasteuse. So the thing is, you make the outline with a medium, and you gradually put the shadows over it. So the first layer of the medium gives this light, like the cheekbone. So yeah, that's. And the left one is from Sandra. It's just an aquarelle. Thank you. And and this is interiors. Of course, I was working in interiors, and and mostly in the beginning, I painted to make rooms work, you know. Like we have this nice living room, and what to put on the wall. So I started to do that, and I painted big pictures. Of course, they are gone with age, and these are now the pictures I had on the exhibits. And you see this. These are it's the left one is gives a bit of jungle look. So when I would like to sit under Indonesian surroundings, I would hang this. And the other one is of Portofino. And this is, yes, this is when I say I would like to be in Portofino, but I can't because of lockdown. And this one, the other one is also how a room can look different with different pictures. I mean, you can have a mood, you can bring a certain mood and change, and I love that. It's like theater. Thank you. So this is finally we come to the exhibition, which is an observed exhibition, because as I took what I had to this exhibit, and it was and this is this waterfall. And surprisingly, it was bought. It was one of the biggest paintings in the exhibit. And Ismana Schulze-Vorberg came in and she bought it. And I was, of course, happy because I wouldn't expect. I was just new in in the scene. I just I know no, I'm not in a group of artists or whatever, and yeah, it is just waterfall and plants that make me happy. Yes, and these are the things which I paint. This is 40 times. No, I'm sorry. This is 1 meter by 80 centimeters, and it is just a mood. I like to, this. I like to be far away, but there's also somewhere I would like to be, and this is oil on canvas and stretched. Yes, it's a bit abstract, and I like waters. Thank you. Yes, and this is an impression. This is oil on canvas. This is, let's see, that is about 1 meter times 70 centimeters. And we were in Greece, and that was out. That was the Bay of Navarone, the dunes of Navarone. And I was excited because there used to be a film called The Guns of Navarone, and of course, but the sea was just beautiful, which I could not render it as beautiful as it is, so it is a bit abstracted. And this is also something of far horizons. In the real painting, there are nukes on the horizon where you think you're going somewhere else. And this is a painting, oil on canvas, 80 centimeter, 1 meter times 80 centimeters. And this is also already sold at the exhibit. Also, I was also surprised and happy. And here is the same. This is Portofino. This is the second exhibit, also in the time of the COVID, when I dared to do an exhibit despite all odds. And I said, well, we have to because I think we should cope with everything what happens in the world, and we have the Latihan that furnishes us with the aliveness as well to be able to adapt ourselves to whatever is coming. So even if friends say you can't do an exhibit or nobody will come, it doesn't matter. Life goes on, and it's nice. This is taken from Portofino, from the heights of Castle Brown. It was an opportunity to visit the Tuscany while the COVID was a bit slower. And this is, I love these umbrella pine trees because they were, and every time we passed by, I said, stop, I have to take a photo. Of course, I worked on this from a photo of these plants and these cypresses. Thank you. Here is oil on canvas, but it is just a panel. It is 2 meters high and 1 meter wide. It is an impression I got from Kaliningrad when we had our zone 4 meeting for the zone 4 meetings in Kaliningrad. And Kaliningrad is a part of Russia which is separated from the mainland, and it is near Poland and near Germany. And we flew there. We did our Kajiwaans, and in the mornings I was sometimes too early because yes, because the light was so beautiful on the lake. And I went down and captured this first on photos. So that's I worked from the photo and tried to produce it on painting, which is not the same, but well, I had my fun. And it is decorative because it would fill a big wall at the entrance, instead of having wallpaper. This is also a panel. This is not mounted, just canvas, 2 meters high and 1 meter. I have these dimensions because 2 meters, most of the rooms are 2.50 meters. So given there is a console or a bed, it would fit the rest of the wall. And it would also be big enough for an entrance to have a nice effect. And these are just my memories of the coast of West Java, where on the right side is the Krakatau, should be the Krakatau. Of course, I modified it a little. I put the palms here. This is oil. And this is just a blue. And funnily, at the exhibit, this was one of the first that found a new home, and I was surprised. And I, yes, I take it. Oh, okay, because in the beginning I do an exhibit and I don't think about whether it's to be sold. First, I was just concerned that things look nice and and well arranged, and of course it was just get, oh, you want to buy it? Oh, yes. So it was bought, and of course she haggled, but I said, okay, it's Corona price. Yes, and then the third opportunity came again because these were all in short notice. Somebody who booked the gallery didn't turn up or canceled it. And so the owner of the galleries asked me whether I would like to exhibit. I said, oh, yeah, okay, good, I'll do that. Of course, I had a bit. It was deep April in 2021 was really deep in COVID, and everybody was scared. But I said, I've got to go out. It gives me an excuse to go out because I just can't go, on my hourly walk, daily walk. So, and I can meet people, I hope. And I said, let's fight against COVID. And I just drew this because I had to tell people that there is a show going on. And because of the short notice, I had to notify people every week. And this is the first thing I did. It shows me with my kimono chasing the COVID, and you see it works because now we're having a better time. People are not so scared at the moment, and we might be going around free without masks anymore. The second announcement of my exhibit, and it says green is the color of healing, of growth, of peace and harmony. And yes, when I gathered my paintings, I said, wow, they're all green. And I had some, I said, my God, this is also green. And then I talked with Ismana, and I said, Ismana, my paintings are all green. And she said, never mind, it's all right. Because there is this Viriditas of Hildegard von Bingen. I said, oh, yes. And Viriditas is one of Hildegard von Bingen's guiding images using greens and the color and the meaning of green in her works. Hildegard von Bingen is born in 1098. She is a German abbess, a Benedictine abbess. She's a writer, a composer, a philosopher, botanist, also mystic, a visionary in the High Middle Ages. And she does a lot with herbs and healing. She studied the natural sciences and used herbs, tinctures, and precious stones as healing medicines. And for her, Viriditas is her spiritual concept of greenness with a cosmic life force infusing the nature. And it is the Latin definition of green force, the basic element of the entire natural world contained in humans, animals, plants, and minerals. And I connect with that, with the vegetable forces in us. So that is after I knew that, I said, okay, I can go on with green. Thank you. And yes, in my small place where I work here, dealing with big big canvases alone is not easy. So I'm glad I have a mezzanine which I hang it on and I paint it, just flapping it. And it is also a practical thing because sometimes I have to transport it. And if I roll it, it doesn't take much space as if when I framed it on a 2-meter, I would need a van. And for my exhibits, I always do it myself. I prepare it, I pack it, and I'm very efficient in hanging because they're most of them are the same size and easy to handle. And as a woman, you know, I don't have muscle power, but I have to see what is good, what I can handle. Thank you. Yes, as this is my latest waterfall. In my first exhibit, there was a waterfall which I painted. I loved it. And it was sold. And in the second one, I'm sorry I didn't make photos of the second one, but it was also gone. So this is my third waterfall because I love water and I love greens, and I just want in this bleak winter, I love something green. So I painted this. And either thankfully or unfortunately, or both, it found a new wall in a yoga house. because there was a lady, she just opened a yoga center, and the interior needed something green. So I was happy to give her that, and she's happy too. And these are, of course, my, at the moment, Liebling, my favorite flowers, because these in Freiburg, they were on the meadows, and I started to have attention on these meadow flowers. They're just so simple, and they go everywhere. They're Carota dotis. I think you know that. It's not. And they're called Queen Anne's lace. It's very good, and I just love them. And I just the way I draw, this is 1 meter by 80. No, by 70. Excuse me. First I have the gesso with the warm colors, and then I do a sky and clouds, which I also like, and then I draw the horizon and the reflection of the clouds on the water, and I do some forests left and right. And then as I move forward, I put in the foreground these flowers, and they're dancing like like fairies. Thank you. And this one is a funny thing, because I was drawing palms, but I was a bit too anxious whether they're all too meticulously drawn. So I started to do something which is not too meticulous and not too detailed. It is a oil on canvas. It is 1 meter times 80 centimeters. And I just drew the outlines and and then I said it looked like an archway, and I hinted, I put some figures of these of two peoples. They were not so clearly defined, just two strokes, two lines with a knob like a match. And then I put something to indicate the place where it is. It is like a Balinese offering shrine on this side. And I thought it was kitschy, and I said I'll put it aside. And of course I had my waters, etc. And after I left it aside, 2 days later, a friend of mine, she gave me notice that her daughter, the daughter is, she had difficulty in finding a soulmate. So it was a problem for my friend to have her daughter unmarried for so long. And she called me and said, "Hey, she's married. She's getting married." And she found, they met in Bali. And I turned around and looked at the painting I left on the side, and I said, "Wow, I could. That's nice. That's an inspiration. I could work on this painting, and this is how it looks like." And maybe if I meet her, I can sell it to her, because because I told her the story also. This one is oil on canvas, 1 meter, 1 meter 30 smaller times 90 centimeters. This is also painting how I proceed from nothing. I just wanted to paint, and I just, of course, I have you can see these warm tints on my gesso underlying. And then I spread water, and then I put uh, darks, and again the dark green. I never use black, the color black. The darkest tone is I mix it with sap green, indigo, and violet. And so I mix it so I get a real deep, deep uh, color, almost black, but it is not black. Because black, I may use it later in abstracts, but in such nice feelings, I don't use black. And I have the shades, and I have this my lake already, and I just put some dashes. I used to be more precise, but now maybe I like to follow a feeling of wantonness. Thank you. Yes, and this is also one of we have a lake, not a lake district. We have. I live in Frankfurt, and it's near water, and of course there are sideways, side streams, and this is one of the places where I like to take a walk during the COVID again. I hope it's over. We don't have to say COVID anymore. And it's also so nice to see on the other um, side of the pond that again greens are reflected. And that time it was peony time, and I had some Japanese peonies. So again, I did a sky, and then did the outline of the other side. I did waters, and I filled it with peonies, and again my favorite fairy-like flowers. Yes, this is still a work in progress. You see how undecisive I often can be to how it is going to be. Sometimes the paintings, they end up different. And this is not yet ready, but I show it anyway. Maybe next time, maybe for the next exhibit, it will have more leaves, and I will show you again. um, this is oil on canvas, 1 meter 40 by 1 meter. Again, I have mostly these sizes because, as I said, 2 meters, 2 meter 50 for a wall. And if you have the bed, you still have space to fill that. And this is exactly ceiling to bed. And it's nice. I still tend uh, to consider it from the decorative point of view. So many artists they're really uh, sour. They don't like me because they say, you're not a true artist. I don't care. I like it. Yes, and this is, I like also because it's just simple. It's a simple, I just like a pond of water, just blues and colors, just something that would lift my spirits and make it happy. A dab here and a dab there. This is oil on painting, oil on canvas, sorry. This is 1 meter times 80. I always take the same measurements because I live in the fourth floor, and sometimes I have to carry them. And carrying 3 of the same size canvas is easier than if you have to bundle them up and then they drop down on their way. So it's also a bit of practicality in it. And I like it because it's pretty. I hope you like it as well. Ah, yeah, this is the pendant. This is also 1 meter 40 times 1 meter. This is the pendant to the other one of the former one I showed you. So they could fit together and fill a bigger wall to create the impression that your table is in Tuscany. And yes, this is one thing I kept for some while over the 2 exhibits. I've kept this for me, but somehow, if you have done it, it had served its purpose, and then you can let go. These are just material things. I mean, I have had my fun with it, and I picked it up again and brought it to my last exhibits, and of course it found a new home also. It was unintentional how I did this. In fact, I didn't know what to do with it. Sometimes I want so much to do a painting. It has to be like this. It had to be like this. It was too mindset, and it didn't work. So I left it for some months, and then suddenly I said, "Okay, I'll take it up again," and something just happened, and I say, "Okay, that's it. I'll stop," and I'm happy with it, and it served its purpose, and so that's how things happen. This is also 140 times 1 meter, all on canvas. And this is a bit, also mein Sehnsucht, like sitting and wishing for nice afternoons on the Thousand Islands. When I was younger, I used to go to the Thousand Islands for scuba and scuba diving. Of course, every time I have to ask my parents, can I go, can I not? So this time I can be in my Thousand Islands without asking anybody. And when I feel like it, I hang it on my wall over my couch, and I feel happy, and it fits nicely. Thank you. Oh, I hope I'm not boring you all with this. This is again, but this has a story. My sister Utami had visited Alpujarra, the Orhiva. And there was a photo which she showed. It was something like this. And I tried to say, okay, I'll do some hills. This is on oil, it's on canvas, 1 meter, 1 meter times 80 centimeters. And I drew hills and something and water. But I don't think I'm a hilly person. I'm more for wide spaces. So I put it aside. And after I returned from from Tuscany last year, and I had my my joy of these flowers. And then it was spring. I said, I'll take it out and put spring on these hills. And this is how it happened. And then, because I was enriched with the experience of visiting the Uffizi in Florence, I noticed the La Primavera of Botticelli. I don't know if you remember the formation of the people, the figures in Botticelli's painting. It shows a man and a lady and a lady. There were 7 persons on this painting, and they were celebrating spring. That's why they had. And this one in the middle is the lady with the dress of many flowers. That was the La Primavera, and that's why I call this La Primavera. Thank you. And this is what I said, the other one of the Portofino. We had this already before, I think. Yes. And these are so small things which I say they are fillers, because for many guests of my exhibits, the paintings are too big. But I love big paintings. And these are 60 centimeters by 40 centimeters, which is handy. And they can fit. And these are just so like water and, water and a combination of the skies and the brushes there, light things, because I also have this marketing thing, if to have things to offer for, if somebody likes paintings, but something is too big, then I can say, okay, would you like to have this? It's smaller. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mardiningsih. That's
I hope I didn't bore you. I didn't bore you too much.
Not at all. It was a wonderful meditative showing of your process and how you approach painting. And it's nice, in a sense, to find a painter who isn't afraid to use the word decorative, or to call their work decorative. That I find, yeah, certainly. But enough about my reaction. Let's see who else wants to say something in response. We're now going to go to the second half of the presentation, where we get to respond to Mardiningsih and ask her questions or whatever. There's quite a few painters here that I think there were. Rohanna's here, and Lima, I see, has come in. Rohanna Lang. So, who would like to say something? Just please wave. Okay, Rohanna, go ahead.
I am actually impressed of how beautiful your paintings are. I am completely impressed, and I think it is amazing. Very peaceful and quite Indonesian in the landscape. It feels to me very much the ponds in Jakarta, Pamulang, or the water lilies, and it felt like I was traveling back again to dear Indonesia. Thank you. It was very pleasant. And I don't have a big wall, but I do understand the problem about painting big, because I like painting big too. And then nobody wants them because they don't have big walls. These days, people have small houses. Big houses are only for the very rich now. So it is a problem. But those vertical ones are just extraordinary. Super, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. That's very kind of you, Rohanna, to say that. Oh, yes, indeed. That is why I'm also practical. I'm not the, I'm not the real artist, the academic artist who, with theories. So in fact, I do it to make spaces nice, to help me, because
That's the point of art. Instead of having some intellectual, who knows what these people have.
yes, I'm not very intellectual. Yes, I'm not very intellectual, but I love painting.
Nice.
And I love making people happy also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rohanna. So who else would like to say something? Lydia, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Mute. There, I'm unmuted, right?
Hi.
Hello. I just want to say that I don't know anything about art, really. I know about poetry and music, but I admire art. But so I really go on how the art makes me feel. And I really admire the fact there's so many different ways of being an artist. But I've not really encountered your style of art before. And I just want to say that it gives me such a warm feeling in my stomach. I feel as if I'm entering a pool of beautiful warm water, and everything is peaceful. And it's an enormous stress reliever for me. So thank you for giving me that feeling. It's such a lovely feeling. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Lydia. I am also touched because while I paint, at a certain point, I said, "Oh, thank God, I can make something which makes me happy." It is also a feeling of gratitude in me as the process goes. It is not because I can do it, but it's thank you. It's just thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you.
Who else is waving their hand at me? I don't see anybody. Eliora, go ahead.
No, there's somebody else. Just a sec. I have to get my glasses on. Paris has their hand up.
Paris?
Yes, Paris.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I am also deeply touched, and I know the room you were sitting in, obviously, and I wanted to share a feeling that I first encountered at the Subut House in Munich when I was not opened, and I had not received the Latihan, but it was this peace. The house just made me welcome, and when I enter now this room you are sitting in, it also gives me this peaceful feeling, but also it just lets me travel to a country that I've never been to Indonesia, the island, and maybe everything is green because sometimes you long for the jungle, for the evergreens of Indonesia, and not of the gray of Frankfurt. Thank you. I'm really touched and I'm really moved. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, Paris. Well, maybe at the next World Congress, you might be able to come to Kalimantan.
Thank you very much, Paris. That was beautifully said. Rohanna Lang, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm Mardiningsih.
Hello, Rohanna.
Thank you for showing your lovely, soft, sensitive pieces of art. Like the others who spoke, I feel very peaceful looking at them, and I can see how much you've enjoyed doing them. And I wanted to add that nobody has mentioned this before, but I was very impressed with the drawings that you showed at the beginning. And I believe you do have a lot of talent. And I would encourage you to also continue with your drawing as well as your painting. Although I realize that you work very much from your feelings and what draws you at the time, but it would be lovely to see more of your drawings as well. So thank you for sharing your work with us today.
Hey, thank you, Rohanna. I appreciate your words, your kind words. Thank you very much. I will learn. I'm still always learning. I'm continuing to learn.
Thank you, Rohanna. Elior, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Where's Mardiningsih? I've lost her. Oh, there you are. Thank you. Thank you so much. They're beautiful, Mardiningsih. I can't believe how big you work, and like such large surfaces, and you still retain this sort of delicacy and create this atmosphere, this lovely, lovely atmosphere. They're beautiful. And I really liked actually number 27, which is, I had to remember the number because I don't know the name, but it was the head that you talked about, that you sort of, it has all this texture.
The head.
You know,
the head.
The head.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a self-portrait or not.
No, it is not a self-portrait. It is I called it Bliss. It has indeed through the layers of paint. As I was saying, I wanted to do something from a state of mind, but it didn't work. And so I left it. And then, of course, there are so paint gives a bit of depth. And suddenly there was this contour.
Yeah.
And I said, that is it. And there was also a process in me that in painting, if you get too fixed, it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I really loved that piece. I thought it was terrific.
Yeah.
So thank you and all your explanations were great. Really lovely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eliora.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Eliora. Thank you very much.
Nathaniel, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, I also have little to no experience in the art world. However, I really like the what do you call it? Your husband's picture. The picture of your husband. I felt when I looked at his face and the pipe and all that, I felt love. And it feels that what you did is for me, it seemed that you captured the love you had for your husband. He's passed away, right?
He passed away, yes.
Yeah, but there was something there that you captured. I really liked that. And I wasn't smart like Eliora and picked the numbers of the paintings, but they were all so fine and peaceful and quiet. It felt like it was like a fine wind or a fine breath. It felt lovely, actually. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, Nathaniel. And now we'll go to Hester, who's got her hand up.
Hello, Hester.
Mute.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for showing your work. I was immediately brought in by the opening sequence, the strength of the drawing of those two young women. Was superb. And I was hooked from then on, really. And, because you go on to be very impressionistic with your use of color, and yet within it, there's also this strong sense of design. And I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your, for your words, because I don't have words, but it means a lot to me what you say, and then I understand through your words what my painting is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. And out to the gallery, here's Hosanna. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Hosanna.
Okay. Well, Mardiningsih, I'm so delighted to hear you talk about your art. As you know, I've been following you on Facebook and sometimes Instagram for a long time because I have been drawn to what everybody else has said, the feeling in your paintings.
Yeah.
And I sometimes wonder, how does anyone do that? You know, put you know, brushes of either oil or watercolor, which I understand is even more difficult in some ways because it runs all over the place. Anyway, it's I just want to say how delighted I am to, you know, see you present, and I do appreciate that feeling of calmness that so many people have talked about, because I'm a person that does live a lot in my head, and I'd love to be able to live more in my feelings. So having things around me that were peaceful is I really like.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hosanna. I'm so very glad to see you even on Zoom here. And we've been connected a long time, for quite some time over Instagram or even Facebook. I once asked you some questions about my leg, and and your name fits you. It's because I found out how the meaning of Hosanna is kind heart, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Good
we
heart.
talked about that.
Good heart, yes.
Yeah, and yours is something about love, which really comes to right, the way of love, or
Yeah.
Thanks, Hosanna.
Yeah.
And let me see who else is out here. Anybody else want to say something before we say goodbye here? Whoop, Anastasia?
Anastasia, yeah.
Well, I don't think I will say something new, but I'm impressed by your art too, because these paintings gave me some kind of harmony too, and peace, really. I like that each picture has its own story. And you said that you don't use black color, and you mixed three paints, and I don't use the black color too. So, well, thank you for sharing your art. It was really interesting and inspiring.
Thank you, and I wish you also success and further works. We
Thank
see
you.
your work someday.
Thank you. I wish you good luck and inspiration too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Anastasia. This is your first attendance at ZoomMuse, and we're very happy to have you.
Yes, thank you.
From Ukraine. That breaks the Canadian crowd.
Lucy is back with us. So
Hello.
Lucy, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Well, yeah, my internet connection, I don't know, it's not great. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Thank you. There's real feeling of design there. Like you've got your vision in your head and you know exactly what you want. And it's really about your message, you know, so it's like a powerful force feeling that comes over with the painting. So it just it's, you know, it's very direct. Like I've got a history of theatre design, so it's sort of that feeling of that it's like being really designed, and it's like the vision, which is, you know, I really appreciate that. I love the feeling of those little matchstick trees, like so delicate, and then the sort of blossom of the foliage, and the sort of the dancing of the flower heads, and also, you know, there's like this narrator feeling, like a little boat I spotted in one of your landscapes with a figure on it, and you know, it just sort of helps your mind, a sort of dream-like vision, and create a story in your head. So I wondered, I might have missed it at the beginning. Did you talk about, they don't look like they're all being done with a brush. Are they done with a cloth or palette knife or a rag or something? How have you applied the paint?
Oh, I do it with brush.
So it's all with brush. So
All
are
with
some
brush.
brushes really big?
Yes, some brushes are big. In the beginning, I used to do fine brushes, very expensive brushes. But lately, I found out that the big thick brushes, which are not so expensive, they make a better effect. They make a better effect, and you know, it also, you know, gives wantonness out.
And I love the green. I love that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you really enjoy the color. Oh well, and of course the light. I mean, the light is just magical. The feeling of like the glow of them. Really,
Yeah.
very enjoyable.
Thank you. It sounds like poetry from you.
Really,
Thank you very
really
much, Lucy.
lovely.
Yes, you're right. It is lovely. And one more look at the screen here to see if anybody wants to add something. Well, as the host, I'm going to take the opportunity to give some feedback. There was one painting in particular that I really enjoyed, Mardiningsih, and it was the first one of the Queen Anne's lace. And here in the eastern woodlands of North America, Queen Anne's lace is ubiquitous. This not at all imposing little flower which seems to thrive everywhere. And the way you had it, they were in the foreground and lit by the sun, and behind through you could see the water going off into the distance, and there was a distant. So it was amazing the effect in the sky above. So my eye kept sort of being drawn from the foreground into the water, into the background, and then it would sort of just come back by itself. And it really was a beautiful, beautiful feeling that that particular painting gave me. So I don't often respond viscerally to art, but certainly that piece, I could just sort of feel, there was a feeling in me. So thank you very much for that. Is there anything that you'd like to say to sum up for how it's been for you today?
Oh, well, thank you very much. I have learned a lot about my paintings from your comments. And this is my first time, and I find it enjoyable, quite enjoyable, especially there's also this feeling of a cozy space here, what we have, because we sort of know each other, maybe not bodily, but spiritually or whatever. And yes, it's very valuable for me what I hear, because until now, until I show my paintings, it's just an experience from me, how I feel in these paintings. And it is very valuable and touching for me, the response. And I hope it encourages me also And I'm also very thankful for you, for hosting it, for editing, and I'm I'm not so good in expressing myself. That's why I chat with Lydia once in a while and speak Shakespeare in English.
You're doing wonderfly, Mardiningsih. You don't have to feel at all inadequate about that. You've enriched us all by sharing your process and showing us your work today. And Hester, I'd like to invite you to tell people about the workshops that you're going to be giving, if you'd like to.
Thank you. Well, thank you again to Mardiningsih. Forgive my pronunciation of your name. It was great. And thank you, Andrew, for inviting me to say something. I work with dreams, and I shall be offering, as a therapist, and I run groups here where I live in the middle of England. And so I'm offering a couple of dream workshops. First of all, 3 to 4 weeks for people who might be interested and to get a feel of what's involved before committing to, well, one of my groups here, we're 8 years old. So if anybody is interested in that, please contact me via SICA International page or now my messenger on Facebook. You have to ask for me to be a friend first, I think. Technology is not my strongest point. And the other group I would like to offer is the other thing I work with, which is story. Essentially the traditional stories, what we call fairy stories, and tracing them back to mythology, to their roots in mythology. And through that, again, looking at the reflection of these ancient stories in our psychological process. So again, anybody who's interested, please contact me, and this will be starting sort of mid to late August. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrew, and so lovely to see everybody.
Thank you very much, Hester. All the best, everybody, and we'll see you in the fall.
Yes.
Take care.
Have a good summer.
Have a nice holiday. Nice holiday.
Bye-bye.
Nice summer.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Olivia.